What is going on, guys and gals? Brooklyn-bound the Raid Scientist here, and today, I'm going to get you ready to take on the Vault of Glass in Destiny 2. Yes, that's right. The Vault of Glass is returning in Season 14 of Destiny 2, scheduled for May of 2021, and it's going to mean a lot of people need to refresh themselves on how to do all of the encounters, or maybe teach those of you who have never done it before. So that's what this video is going to do. If this is your first time visiting my channel, feel free to check out all of my other raid guides, and if you like the content, please click the red subscribe button down below to get connected to the channel and get notified anytime new videos are posted. And if you already are subscribed, well, you're an absolute badass, so let's go. Before we get into the encounter by encounter summaries, I want to first make sure a few key statements are made up front. First, Joe Blackburn from Bungie announced that the sanctity of the original Vault of Glass raid would remain intact, but they do need to make some modifications to smaller things like enemy types, spawns, etc. in order to accommodate for the new gameplay, speed, abilities, and subclasses that did not exist in Destiny 1. Second, I'm going to go over this raid based on some assumptions that the actual mechanics and boss fights will remain the same. A full, up-to-date guide on the Destiny 2 version of Vault of Glass will be available on my channel as soon as the raid goes live. Or slightly after. So, let's jump right into it. When you launch the Vault of Glass, you will notice that you start in a public space of Venus, where you must build the spire to open the door to enter the vault. This is pretty straightforward. There are 3 plates, one on the left, one on the center, and one on the right side of the map. The goal is to hold these plates and prevent the Praetorian Minotaurs from taking control of them. So, typically, split the group up into 3 pairs, with each pair of players taking responsible for 1 plate each. The team in the middle has the advantage that they can kind of float from side to side and somewhat help the left and right teams clear out enemies. As you hold the plates, you'll notice that the large spire in the middle area will start growing larger until it finally completes and the door to the vault opens. You'll descend through a series of caves until you encounter a chest that may or may not be there in the Destiny 2 version, we don't know, and you'll keep dropping down the platforms as shown on screen until you enter the Templar area, and the first major encounter of this raid. The Templar fight consists of 5 different phases, and each one contains its own checkpoint. So if you wipe at any point, you don't automatically go back all the way to the beginning, you'll just start at the checkpoint that you left off at. As the fight progresses, you'll continuously have more things to deal with, and they will get progressively harder. So let's jump into the phases. For most of the phases, ad-clearing supers and defensive supers like Bubble or Well of Radiance are all fine. Until you can finally damage the Templar in the final phase, you'll be surviving waves of ads and defending confluxes and shooting oracles. So, Phase 1. Defend the conflux. When the fight starts, there will be a single conflux in the back of the arena that you'll need to prevent Vex from sacrificing at. They will spawn randomly throughout the room through the doors in the left, right, and down the stairs in the middle. It's best to just stay near the conflux as a team and defend it together. The key with this phase, as well as phases 2 and 3, is to avoid the fanatics pools that they drop on the ground. When a fanatic dies, it leaves a pool of slime behind that if you stand in, you will get marked for negation, which is bad. The only way to get rid of mark for negation is to jump into the bright lit pool down on the bottom of the stairs in the middle of the room. If you don't cleanse yourself before the boss performs his negation ritual, you will die. You'll know he's getting ready to do his negation ritual when you see a command on the screen that says, "The Templar summons its legions." When this happens, tons of enemies and fanatics will spawn, and it's best to use heavy and some supers on them here to clear them all out. Once all of the enemies are dead and the ritual of negation has happened, collect ammo, revive if needed, and prepare for Phase 2. Phase 2, the conflux in the back of the room will split into 2 confluxes, one on the left and one on the right, and the whole process repeats itself. Split your focus into 2 teams focusing left and right respectively, but don't forget to have at least one person focusing on the ads in the middle from the stairs as well. Once again, the Templar will summon its legions, tons of ads will spawn, and the entire time you want to avoid getting marked by any of the fanatic pools. If you do, cleanse yourself and continue. Once that wave is complete, you'll go into Phase 3, which is the same all over again, this time with all 3 confluxes, left, middle, and right. Remember, if too many Vex sacrifice collectively at the confluxes, you will wipe. Feel free to use supers as needed to clear everything out. After the final enemies of Phase 3 are dead, the confluxes section will be completed, but however, you will have much to do until you can finally fight the Templar himself. Now the Templar encounter will move on to Phase 4, which is the Oracles part, and is fairly long. The goal here is to destroy all of the Oracles when they spawn, and doing so will prevent the team from once again getting marked for negation and killed by the Templar. If you miss an Oracle, the team will get marked, and everyone will need to use the central cleansing pool to cleanse. In addition, you will need to repeat that wave of Oracles as well. So, missing Oracles really isn't an option to progress. The Oracles themselves are the glowing yellow crystal-looking things that make a specific chime or sound when they spawn. There are 7 locations in total, and they do not change. However, the Oracles will spawn in different patterns each wave, and there are 7 waves in total. Shocker, right? Basically, you're going to split your team up and have 3 people covering the left side and 3 people covering the right side. Be sure that you have people specifically positioned to see the 2 closest to the Templar, which are typically called the hidden ones, as well as the one that spawns in the middle near the spawn. The map on screen shows you the location of where they all can spawn. When the Oracle phase starts, you'll hear Oracles chime and they will start spawning. After all of the Oracles in the wave are destroyed, you'll have some time to focus ads and cleanse if necessary before the next wave begins. Note that Hobgoblin snipers will constantly start spawning out on the ledges, so be sure to focus on them at all times. The number of Oracles per wave is as follows. Wave 1 and 2 have 3, Wave 3 and 4 have 5, Waves 5 and 6 have 7, and Wave 7 has 9. With the large number of waves, focus on keeping all of the ads at bay and collecting ammo during the downtime between Oracles. Once you've destroyed all of the Oracles in all 7 waves, you'll finally move to the final phase of the Templar encounter, Phase 5. This is where you'll actually fight it. So collect ammo, orbs of light, and whatever you need before starting. The fight will not start until someone grabs the floating shield down by the cleansing pool called the Relic. This is when you want to switch to DPS weapons that can do long-range damage, as well as stacking debuffs and DPS supers here as well. You'll probably want a Bubble or Well of Radiance, a Divinity, and a Hunter Tether to debuff him, and things like that to maximize damage on the Templar. Whoever picks up the Relic will have the most work to do in this encounter, so familiarize yourself with its abilities. First, the Cleanse ability, typically L1 on a controller, and this will create a cleansing bubble around the holder as long as it is held, which will be necessary if anyone gets marked for negation. Second is the attacks. There is a light attack and a heavy attack. Also note, if you jump in the air and do a heavy attack, you can slam the ground and do extra damage that is kind of an AoE. Finally, the super ability can only be used when the super is full, and this will break the shield of the Templar. So, when the fight starts, the Templar will be immune. Only the Relic holder can break his shield. And to charge the super ability faster, the Relic holder should focus on killing Harpies with the light attack. The other player should also focus on the remaining ads and avoid the Templar's attacks at all costs. In addition, Oracles will spawn that must be destroyed, or the team will get marked for negation and will need to be cleansed. So call out the Oracles as you see them. Now, once the super ability on the Relic is fully charged, you will be able to start DPS. The Relic holder will call out that they are full, and everyone will group up in a spot and stay on the ground. Be sure you are not jumping, as when the Relic holder uses the super to break the Templar's shield, people will become detained. And if you try to leave your detainment, bad things will happen. So, basically, there is a few strategies for this. My recommendation is to have everyone group together, and after the shield is broken and the detainment goes out, the relic holder will do a small jump and then slam to break everyone's detainment. Be careful you don't jump too high in case you are detained. Alternatively, people can shoot themselves out of the detainment too if you are split up when it goes off. Just don't use explosive ordnance like rockets or grenade launchers or even grenades, as you will kill yourself. Once you are free from detainment, unload all of your DPS you can into the Templar. As I mentioned for Destiny 2, I would suggest pairing Bubble or Well with a Tether or a Divinity to maximize DPS. After a window of time, he will become immune and you'll repeat the entire process all over again. Note at this point, the Templar will teleport to a new location. It will provide a tooltip on screen letting you know this is happening. You can see where he is going to teleport to as well because it was designated by a white ring with light coming out of it on the map. Standing in this position will disrupt his teleport, but it also spawns additional ads. In Destiny 1, there was a challenge to prevent his teleports, but you don't have to do it. Either way, go back to killing ads and oracles and have the relic holder charge their super ability. Repeat DPS as necessary until he dies. If you take too long, he will enrage, so make sure you don't delay too much in reaching each DPS phase. Once he falls, collect your loot and head deeper in. Now, there are two ways down. One in the hidden alcove on the left to the Templar arena, or you can just go through the large, now open door in the back middle of the room and drop down. Either way, you are making your way down to the Gorgon maze. In the Gorgon maze, there are two chests. I will cover how to find them specifically in my full guide, as I'm curious if Bungie moves them or changes the pathing to the Gorgons at all. The original locations were 1. The chest is to the left of where you drop down by jumping up through a hidden opening in a cave and running around to it. And 2, if you follow the water to the right in the Gorgon maze, there is a hidden cave on the right. Furthermore, on screen you can see this professionally drawn map I rendered with the path I typically took in Destiny 1. Remember to walk and crouch as necessary to avoid detection. If you are spotted by a Gorgon, there is about a 10-second period when you can call out DPS to them and kill it if you're lucky. But if not, you'll wipe. So don't get spotted, basically. The easiest path I found is to head to the left on screen until you see this Gorgon who is heading away from you. Pause, he'll turn to the right and disappear, and you can continue forward, staying to the right of the rocks. Then, sprint and hug the right wall until you find an opening. Be quick, because there will be a Gorgon coming from the left that will spot you if you dilly-dally. If Bungie changes their pathing, we'll cover the new path in the full guide. Now, you'll make your way down to the final area of the raid. There is a small jumping platforming section where the platforms appear and disappear. Ultimately, you can just jump on a few of these and jump over to the far side, down below, and walk up to the door. Once you open the door, you will enter the final arena. This final arena has 2 phases, with the second phase being a face-off with Atheon himself, times Conflux. But first, phase 1. Phase 1 is the Gatekeeper's phase. You'll notice a large Hydra in the middle of the room, 2 Vex portals on the left and right of the room, which are not active, and 2 plates behind those portals on the left and right as well. The goal of this encounter is to kill the Gatekeepers, obtain their relics, and use the relics to prevent waves of Minotaurs from sacrificing at the Conflux. Ad-clearing weapons, things like shotguns and swords, will be pretty good here against the Minotaurs. Snipers, heavy machine guns, rockets, and grenade launchers will be good against the Gatekeepers. There are a few ways to coordinate this fight depending on its difficulty in Destiny 2. When Vault of Glass first released, it required splitting teams up into specific roles to cover each mechanic. But after players were of high enough level, Gatekeepers were easily soloed and the logistics of the fight changed and were much easier. So let's pretend we are back in the original days for a few minutes on this one. You'll want to assign 2 players to be the gate opening team, 2 players on the Minotaur team, and 2 players on the Gatekeeper team. When the fight starts, everyone will kill Ads and the Gatekeeper in the middle. Once he's gone, have everyone head over to the left portal, which will be called Mars, and have the 2 gate opening players stand in the plate to maintain control of it. Doing so will open the portal. These players must not let the Praetorian Minotaurs and the Vex take control of the plate. Otherwise, it will lock the players inside in, and you'll need to reclaim it. The other 4 players will go inside, clear the Ads, and kill the Gatekeeper. When he dies, he'll leave behind a relic, the same one from the Templar encounter that has the same abilities. In addition, all 4 players inside will get marked by the Void, a debuff that will slowly cause you to be unable to see. The players should run back and leave through the portal they came in, with the relic holder cleansing them to remove the debuff. Now, once one relic is acquired, the Conflux in the middle of the room will activate, and waves of Minotaurs will start spawning and try to sacrifice it. At this point, the 2 Minotaur players should head over and start focusing on them. The 2 gate opening players should now move over to the right portal and start opening it by holding that plate. And the relic holder and the remaining Gatekeeper player should head inside the right portal, which we will call Venus, to kill the other Gatekeeper and Ads. The relic holder should use their abilities to help clear them. Also note that in a pinch, one of the gate opening players can go inside to help, as you really only need one person to hold open the portal. Now, another relic will spawn and should be picked up, and everyone should cleanse and leave the portal heading back to the main area. Now, all the Gatekeepers dead and both relics acquired, the entire team should focus on defending the middle Conflux from the waves of Minotaurs until the fight completes. Use supers, heavy, or whatever you need to stay alive. Once they are all dead, and the Conflux has been defended for a long enough time, you'll move on to the final phase and the final boss of Vault of Glass, Atheon. To prepare for this encounter, you'll want Warlocks and Titans on Wells and Bubbles, DPS heavy weapons, and a debuff like Divinity or Tether for the boss. You'll also want to clearly notate the 2 main jobs in this fight, the inside portal team and the outside portal team, which is split between 3 people in each. Originally, when the Vault of Glass launched, you could pre-assign these teams and have the same 3 people always go into the portals. However, it eventually evolved into just a random teleport. So it's best that all 6 players know how to perform in each situation now. At the beginning of the fight, Atheon will walk up the middle arena, and everyone should basically stay hidden. He will then teleport 3 players into one of the 2 portals. Remember that Mars is the one on the left if you're facing Atheon, and Venus is the one on the right if you're facing Atheon. The way you know which is Mars looks like a desert and Venus looks like a jungle. Or at least that's how I remember it. When teleported, those 3 players should immediately call out which one they got sent to. So the 3 players that remain in the outside area can go to the correct plate and open the portal so the 3 players who got sent in can escape. Now, while you're claiming the plate, be sure to clear out the waves of the supplicants that are spawning around the arena. The inside portal team will be working on how to escape. Immediately upon entering, a relic will spawn right behind where you came in. One player should grab it and immediately push forward to kill the enemies. Be sure to use the slam attack to kill them quickly. The other 2 players can help shoot the ads, but then they will need to start shooting the red oracles that will spawn above you in the air. There are 7 oracles to destroy, and they will spawn progressively further from the spot that you entered. So, the 2 oracle shooting players should move together, shooting them as they spawn. The entire time you are in there, you will be marked by the void, and slowly be unable to see until you die. Therefore, the relic holder must cleanse the group every so often to prevent this. So, be sure to stay grouped together and move as a unit. Once all 7 oracles are dead, cleanse one final time and head through the portal. Once that 7th oracle dies, it starts the DPS phase, so do not take too long to go through the portal and start damage. You'll know it started because you'll have a 30-second timer on your screen that says Time's Vengeance, and during this time, Atheon will be damageable. Group up, stack Well and Bubble, Tether and Divinity to damage him. Note that he will be shooting you while DPS is going on, so it's best to choose a location where you can stay covered. However, keep in mind that the Relic Holder Cleanse ability will also act as a banner shield during the DPS phase. So, the most popular strategy was to have all 6 players jump to the middle platform. The Relic Holder holds the Cleanse ability facing Atheon, which will shield the other 5 players. And then, those 5 players can all-out DPS him safely. Pay very close attention to the timer on the screen for Time's Vengeance, because when the time is up, the DPS phase is over, and everything will repeat again. Atheon will choose 3 random people to teleport to one of the 2 realms, and you will repeat until he falls. And that's it. I zoomed through this whole explanation, but that was kind of the point. This is just a refresher. Stay tuned to the channel for a full guide when the Vault of Glass releases next season, and until then, stay safe out there, Guardians, and thanks for watching.